What's up, y'all? Winnie here. Welcome back to the SP Foundation Wiki. I'm recording a bunch of these in the roast, so there's still yard work happening outside. I don't know if my microphone is picking it up or not because I looked out the window to see what the heck was going on, and the dude is on a rideable lawnmower with 3 broken cinder blocks tied badly to the back of it. So the noise I'm getting isn't the lawnmower, it's the bouncing cinder blocks. It doesn't seem like the microphone is picking it up, but if there's a weird clunk, 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 clunk sound in the next few of these, that's what that is. Anyway, today we're going to be checking out visual perfection. It's another safe one, surprisingly. SCP-1497 is currently contained inside a secure locker within sight somewhere. Eye contact is to be avoided. That doesn't sound safe then. Instances of one created outside of testing are to be given Class A amnestics. I know the thing is, oh, it's safely contained, not that the item itself is safe. I really feel like they should rate it based off of if the item itself is safe or not, and not whether or not containing it works, because if you tell me something is safe but don't look at it, then that doesn't sound safe to me. 1497 is a miniature human eye suspended in the center of a 6 centimeter tall glass jar, though it is unknown how this suspension is achieved, as it cannot be opened. It lacks an optical nerve and retinal blood vessels, as the sclera completely covers the eye surface save for the cornea. The eye is capable of freely rotating on all 3 axes, and regularly does so in the direction of new visual stimuli. The iris changes color upon maintaining eye contact with a human for 3 seconds, matching the color of the viewer's eyes. This activates the cognitohazardous property of 1497. That does not sound safe! Upon activation, the human that 1497 mimics, henceforth 1, begins experiencing a shift in visual perception. Instances of 1 have reported that things they previously found visually displeasing become much more visibly appealing. This has been confirmed to not be the result of hallucinations, but rather a cognitive shift towards within 1. The most common effects are an increase in perceived attractiveness of other humans, resulting in an increase in sexual attraction and increased appreciation of all visually artistic exploits. The effect of 1497 also extends to concepts and situations, as 1 is unable to visually recognize a threat. When presented with blades and firearms, 1 will only be able to appreciate the aesthetic design of the weapon, even when presented in a threatening manner. Testing concluded 1 will not react to threats of violence to itself or others, and are equally unaffected by witnessing violence against others. However, 1 are able to recognize when they are being harmed, although they are unable to visually recognize the cause of the damage. This sends injured 1 into a panic state that often causes them to be unable to respond to the act of violence, though they are capable of fleeing and seeking medical attention. Due to the similar anomalous properties between 1497 and 1528, and we'll get there soon, investigation into possible connections is currently under consideration. SCP-1497 was located in an art gallery in Portland, Oregon on either March the 2nd or February the 3rd, 2013 by an agent implanted in the local police force after receiving reports of someone calling for help within a locked building. 1497 was located on a pedestal with a note and photo, see Addendum A. We don't have Addendum A of the photo, at least. Under it, the plaque of the pedestal reading "Better off blind than beguiled by beauty." Trapped within the art gallery were 10 blind humans, all of whom claimed they had been kidnapped within the past week. Class C amnestics were distributed amongst them after questioning, and they were returned to their places of residence. The following note and photograph were found pinned under 1497. "This world is ugly. Look at it with some fresh eyes and see perfection." Okay, Addendum B. Credentials accepted. Intake statement. Person of interest designation 2-STG-473. On either November the 4th or April the 11th, Foundation security personnel raided a warehouse belonging to, let's see, if that's 411 and that was 2-3, then yeah, that doesn't help me any. They raided a warehouse belonging to Capel Securities GmbH, a multinational financial firm specializing in assets related to private art collections. As expected by Site Blank intelligence analysts, items suspected to be related to 1497 per Addendum A were present and seized by personnel. 3 items were given provisional classifications: Tau 8211G, Tau 2167R, and Tau 5999I, and routed to Site Blank for classification. These items, referred to in recovered documentation as the Perfection series, were intended for display at a private showing scheduled to take place at a residence in St. Petersburg, Russia. Subsequent investigation identified several persons of interest believed to be responsible, at least in part, for 1497, leading to the capture of person of interest 2 STG-473, a plastination specialist in Eindhoven, Netherlands. After initial processing and detainment, researchers recorded the following intake statement from that person. Research staff confirmed veracity of details in the following statement, and subject was treated with amnestics and released after 15 days. Please state your name for the record. Blank blank. Resident of Geldrop, Mirlo, Netherlands. You'll find my paperwork in order, surely. No one's told me what's going on. I don't know a Netherlands accent. I'm just giving him an accent for differentiation purposes. What is this place? You're at the Aarhus Bureau of Outpost of Interpol. We just have a few questions related to an ongoing investigation. We have no plans to turn you over for criminal charges, Mr. Blank. We would just like to understand a little more about this item. Hands a photograph. Oh, that. You're familiar with this? Yes, may I smoke in this room? Certainly. Sends an attendant to retrieve the personal effects and returns the brand of cigarettes in a disposable lighter. I thank you. As you're doubtless aware by now, I'm by profession a purveyor of anatomical models and medical teaching aids. Laboratory skeletons, preserved organs from patients who died of rare diseases, things of that nature. Mostly mail-order service to the universities in the EU and Russia. Any work on the side? You certainly do your research at Interpol. Yes, I've fulfilled requests. I'm also not doing like a standard. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Request on occasion for, how do you say, private materials. You're familiar, of course, with those distasteful traveling exhibits with the educational displays of cadavers and such. Cheap leering. Peh! Of course, certain individuals, they want private exhibits of such things. It is some sort of fad among the newly wealthy, apparently. Sometimes they make arrangements in advance for, what do they call it? A memorial. God, what a tacky term. Sometimes I'm brought a friend or loved one, and I preserve them mounted like some cheap hunting trophies, skinless while riding a bicycle, half of them hanging from a ceiling, the silly ghoulishness. Why do they come to you? Recommendations, I suppose. Preserve one Russian tycoon's circulatory system, wear a top hat, the rest come calling. Business is business. So, the object in question? Yes, that. I received a phone call one night telling me to expect some business. I received the call on my private cell phone, so it is, of course, an assignment of the nature we've just discussed. My contact tells me to expect an unusual client. One would ask me, anyone seeking these services is unusual, but I digress. I'm told to be at my laboratory at midnight that evening to discuss the terms. This clientele is prone to unnecessary dramatics, so of course I think nothing of it. I arrive at the appointed hour, and I'm met by a group of 3 men with a small suitcase, but these men, they aren't the types of people that I'm used to seeing with this sort of arrangement. These were not transients, but all 3 of them wore tattered clothes, kept long matted gray beards, and their faces, what little I could see of them that were not obscured by beards, seemed to be covered in soot of some kind. Before I had time to be angry at being pulled away from my bed at an ungodly hour for a childish prank, one of the men hands me the suitcase. Did any of the 3 men identify themselves? No, and I did not ask, force of habit. Please continue. I don't know where this accent is going. The man who handed me the suitcase, he made me open it. I am, of course, quite suspicious, and I began to demand an explanation. These men, however, they were in a great deal of haste. The man on my left hands me a plastic shopping bag, and I can see that there's more than a few bundles of currency in it. He tells me there's 100,000 euros, by its appearances, it was strangely plausible. At the same time, the man on my right trains a pistol on me. I was then more inclined to open their suitcase. Do you need some time to collect your thoughts? Forgive me, it gets rather strange from there. I hear that a lot. Please continue, we're just interested in what you have to say. I opens a briefcase, and inside is a miniature man of sorts, perfectly proportioned, looks to be about 30 or so, long hair, beard and such, but he can't be more than half a meter or so. I've seen dwarfism, but never anything like that. It was strange enough that I'd forgotten about the gentleman pointing the pistol at me. The man directly in front of me was direct. They wanted parts of this thing preserved, and they wanted it tonight. They were willing to compensate me quite handsomely, but my participation was not up for discussion. What parts were they talking about? They wanted the left eye, the heart, a rear molar, and its brain. Simplicity itself, really, when you don't consider that a gun has been pointed at you and the specimen is something from a sideshow. I immediately set to work. I did not at the time stop to wonder why 3 vagrants would be in possession of €1,000 and a tiny man, and honestly, I have not stopped to think about it too thoroughly since. There was a problem, though. Problem? Yes, the foul abomination wasn't dead yet. I made the initial incisions to remove the eye, and it started shivering. Gods, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about that. The man who had done all the talking assured me that the thing wasn't alive in any real sense, and the man with the pistol encouraged me to continue. Continue I did then, first removing the eye, then the heart. Despite assurances to the contrary, these things should not be beating when I received them for preservation. All the while, this thing didn't bleed at all, but it trembled throughout. I feel sick all of a sudden. Would you like to continue later? No, I should be fine. Anyway, I had problems when it came to the teeth. You wouldn't think of this, but removing teeth from a tiny man is not a particularly easy task. They keep breaking. Every time I use my finest pliers, and then blink, they break apart right as I'm about to get them out. The heightened nerves that come from doing such delicate work at gunpoint were not helpful for my labors. Fortunately, I was able to devise something of a solution that was acceptable to my clients, involving grinding up the remaining teeth and mixing the resulting slurry into some ceramic and, well, details bore outsiders, I know. Suffice to say that I ended affairs by scooping out its brain and pumping the tissue full of preservatives as fast as I could manage. Several hours later, all of the materials were done curing. The 3 gentlemen produced 4 glass jars, full of surprises as they were. They placed the preserved bits in their small acquaintance in the jars, and without a word exited, leaving behind the 100,000 and the somewhat worse for wear remains of the little thing. Do you happen to have any cognac on premises here? What happened next? Strangely, the profitable night left me feeling less than jubilant. It was almost dawn. I was quite tired, confused, and to be frank, frightened. I pondered the night's events when the remains of the little man started, I'm not sure how to say, moaning? It was likely moaning. I decided that my workday was at an end there and and I pitched the little man into my incinerator, turned it out high, shut the door, and plugged my ears. Just into the incinerator. Like that? Yes, just like that. What would you have recommended? That will be all, Mr. Blank. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what accent that country, the people from that country are supposed to have. I also have no idea what kind of accent I was trying to do because I'm aware of the fact that I cycled through like no less than 4. It just felt like I should put on some sort of voice that was just not normal speaking for this person. Anyway, it does say miniature human eye. So does that mean that somewhere out there are all the rest of these body parts doing something else that's also weird? They did say that it's similar to 1528, so I guess when we get to 1528, we'll find out if that is indeed another one of the body parts. Will it be the tooth? Will it the tooth made of teeth? Will it be the brain? Will it be the heart? I guess we'll find out whenever I get to 1528. But for now, that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked it, a like and subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, don't. If you want to click the bell, you can do that as well so that you're notified of future uploads. At least that's what it's supposed to do. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.